Morning everyone, welcome to Compliance Over Coffee. A bit of an overcast day here in the northwest. Hope it's better weather where you are. Wanted to talk to you this morning about insurance for sourcing agents and the fact that yes, it is getting harder to find. It's getting harder to find for a few reasons. One of them is that a lot of the original providers of insurance for sourcing sector have withdrawn or changed criteria. The other one is that we're finding that brokers are not supplying insurance cover for sourcing agents. And having conversations with insurance brokers, it's pretty clear that the criteria for application for such insurance is tightening significantly. So what are they expecting of us? They are asking such questions of what experience have you got? And of course, for a sourcing agent who's just starting, the answer to that question is zilch. And also, have you got a business plan? Do you have certain documentation in place? Are you registered in certain places? Do you have any training? And can you prove it? So before you set up your sourcing business, or even potentially when you come to think about your insurance is due for renewal, you need to have a think about how you're going to respond to these types of queries upon renewal, or if you have to change insurance company, and these types of questions that are being asked. So what training have you had? Have you got training? Have you had up-to-date training in data protection and money laundering, which is legally required annually? Can you prove it? Have you got experience? What experience can you show? Have you spent the last 12 months setting up your business? Have you spent the last 18 months building a relationship with an investor who you've now registered and brought on board? What experience have you got and can you bring to the table that would help cover you? What courses have you done that will give you experience and understanding into what you're supposed to be doing and how you're supposed to be operating? Now, the insurance sector always changes. It's a moving thing, just like legislation and regulation. So the people that cover us will change and will come and they will go. Kind of like mortgage providers. They enter the market with certain products and then change the products, change the criteria on a pretty regular basis. The same appears now, from experience, to happen in the insurance sector and is metamorphosizing for the sourcing sector. So what can we do about it? How can we help ourselves? We can have a great understanding as to what maybe we're going to be asked and plan for it, and understand that it isn't just a simple application, that you may be asked questions that are going to test you. So understand what experience you may be able to bring to the table. Have you had training? Is it provable? What sort of business plan have you got? Have you got a business plan? What do you expect your annual turnover to be? And be realistic about it. Don't turn around and say, I'm going to have 70,000 in the first 3 months. You know, in your first year of your sourcing business, unless you're doing a lot of rent-to-rent deals, which turn over quickly, you know, estimate your turnover as being maybe £30,000. I mean, that's 10 deals at 3,000. And that will be a real push in your first year, even your second year. So be realistic about your turnover. Be honest about the information that you provide. Are you dealing with foreign nationals? Are you dealing with UK residents? Are you dealing with property that's abroad? Are you just dealing with property that's in the UK? The more honest you are in the policy, the better quality the policy will be and the better it will fit your business. But the other thing that we all need to start thinking about is this, and it's a conversation that I had in the last 10 days with a potential insurance provider that we're talking with through NAPSA to white label an insurance policy, not a standard policy, an insurance portal for NAPSA members. So it isn't a policy that all NAPSA members sit under regardless of what they do, because I don't agree with that, because I don't believe that one policy can fit every situation, from a £30,000 terrace house in East Lancashire to a multi-million-pound development site anywhere in the UK. I'm not convinced that one insurance policy will cover you for all of it. So the portal that we're working on is where you as NAPSA members will have access to the portal to insert all of your information pertinent to your insurance for your business, and then it will tell you how much that will cost. You can adjust how much you're covered for, exactly what you're covered for. It is your bespoke policy, but it is white labelled through the NAPSA site. And we're hoping for that to be up and running by the end of the year. So insurance is really, really important. You have to be honest about what you put into the policy, because it's only as good as the information that you declare. But the other thing that was pointed out to me that I hadn't thought about too much, but over the years as we've been sourcing, and we've been sourcing now for over 11 years, when we were really working almost flat out on the sourcing side, and we were sourcing multi-million pound development sites for the healthcare centre, we had £1 million worth of PI and PL cover. Now we're just sourcing to build a portfolio up for one investor that we're working with currently. Our current policy is £250,000 worth of cover. But get this, and I thought it was really interesting what the guy said that was talking to me, who is an expert in the insurance sector, and I'm not. And he said this, he said, Tina, when people sue you, they don't sue you for 30,000, they don't sue you for 100,000, they don't sue you, they sue you for millions. And it isn't just about the value of the service that you've provided, it's about their pain and suffering and what other losses they may have had. So the point was that although minimum requirement for insurance at this moment in time through the redress schemes is set at £100,000, and £100,000 sounds like a lot of money, but in civil suit cases actually it's not. And across the other supervisory bodies for other aspects of the sector, such as NAEA, RICS and various others, they have a staged programme of minimum cover, and the minimum cover for them, I believe, is £250,000. And it goes up in increments dependent on what your turnover is. Now, I've always said for insurance to get as much as you can afford, but a lot of people simply get the minimum because it's the minimum that they have to set up and start the business. And I get it, because you're trying to keep costs down. But the problem is, kind of like a good quality contract and a good relationship, you only need it when you need it. And if it fails you, then you're up the carver without a paddle. You really are, as far as your insurance policy is concerned. So it's time for us as sourcing agents to start thinking that maybe the £100,000 might be the benchmark line for minimum, but actually if someone was to sue us for £1 million and our policy was only for 100,000, where would you find the rest? Because with running at barristers' fees at maybe £1,000 an hour, your £100,000 cover ain't going to take long to wash and rinse with a court case. So it's time to seriously sit down and think about how much insurance cover you actually get, and how much do you believe that you want the insurance to actually be there to protect you just in case something goes wrong, or are you just actually meeting minimum standards because you believe that that's okay and nothing will ever go wrong. I think sometimes things can go wrong, and with all of the will in the world and you could have done everything right, if someone takes you to court, you have to go to court to prove it. So I think our insurance policies really have to be pepped up. And when I have my next chats with both PRS and the TPO, I'm going to have a conversation with them about where the minimum is set, and maybe we could do with having a look at raising it in line at least with other aspects of the sector. I'd be interested to see, to hear and see what you guys think about this topic about insurance in general. I know the costs of it are pretty high. Through NAPSA we're looking at trying to bring the costs down, but costs of insurance for PI have gone up across the board, and it's something that we have to allocate for in finance for annual running costs. And I can tell you that next time we go to renew our insurance, I'm definitely going to look at hiking the amount to probably at least £500,000, just to be safe on our side, that actually what we're paying for the insurance, if you're to pay an extra £100 to lift it, would actually cover you rather than leaving you a lot of money short from being able to defend yourself in court. And also I'm going to learn a lot more about what the clauses are in insurance policies, what they mean, how they affect us, and what we should be looking out for the basic good cover for us. The other thing that was mentioned and I thought was incredibly interesting was about cyber security and cyber protection. And this is something that I'm also very interested in, and I think that all sourcing agents should bear in mind, because we hold an awful lot of sensitive data, and we use a military grade storage system called Nimbox, and I recommend it to anyone that works with us or even that I have a conversation with on the topic. But I know that a lot of sourcing agents don't. And when you have personal data held in emails or anywhere else, anywhere is hackable. Anywhere is hackable. And if your client's personal data is stolen, then you could be for the high jump. You need to understand about data security, about what systems you're using, about what security is on them, how safe is that personal data that you're holding and collecting, and how vulnerable are you to attack and to potentially losing it. If all of the data is held in one place, it's much easier to protect than if you're moving it all over the place via email, various messaging systems, or whatever else it is. So that is Compliance Over Coffee for this morning. I hope it was useful to you. Please comment if you've had problems getting insurance, or you were asked a lot of questions before you could get insurance, you've struggled setting it up, the cost of it, how much you've got, what your thoughts are on having to increase the amount of cover, not just to meet minimum requirements, but actually to help protect you and your business an awful lot more. And also anything about cybersecurity, if you're an expert on that, that would be really interesting. We will be back with you next Thursday at the usual time of 8:30. Until then, have a fantastic weekend. I hope it sunshines with you all. Bye for now.